Hello, everybody, and welcome to Women of Dance. I'm your host, Sharonne Vinokurov, and I cannot believe this is episode number 20. When I started doing this, I knew it would be an incredible discovery journey, right, for a lot of the viewers, but it's also been one from myself. I've learned so much from these incredible women. They have been so inspirational, and today's guest really is no exception. She is an icon in this industry. She's done it all. She's done Broadway, she's done movies. Uh, just an incredible talent. I cannot wait to talk to her. There's so much to show and so much to go over. So I'm not going to wait any longer. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show today, the incredibly talented Shani Talmor.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. I know your schedule is so crazy. So I'm really grateful that you're taking the time to sit down and talk with me and everybody.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good. I'm busy. I'm working, knock on wood.
I know, right?
But yeah, great.
I love it. Well, we're going to do a deep dive on you. We're going to let everybody know about your history. Just a reminder to those that are going to be watching, we do take comments. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So if there's anything you want to say to Shani or you have a question for her, myself, anything about dance, feel free to comment and we will get to it. Shani, let's take it with you from the beginning. Why don't you give everybody a little bit of your background and let us all know how your dance life began?
Okay. So I grew up in Israel, born and raised in Israel. I started dancing when I was really, really young. My mom put me into like jazz and ballet and everything, but it was more, in the local studio by my house. But I loved it. I always danced in my house on the table. Like my dad always used to play so much music. So I've always been around it. So I started dancing, jazz, ballet, all that until I was like 16. And from the age of I want to say 8 to 16. And then around 16, I discovered salsa. So that's when I said, okay, I love that. And I kind of shifted more to salsa. So from 16 to 19, 20, I was in Israel instructing, teaching. I went to a few congresses to, just learn more, meet people, etc. And that's where I met Johnny Vasquez. At that point, I was like almost 20, 19, turning 20.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny asked me to come and dance with him, to move to Spain. And at that point in my life, it was I just kind of was about to finish the military service.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I've done anything really important in the military because of dancing. I kind of I said, I want to dance more. Oh my God, the video. Yep. So
you brought up Johnny. I had to go to the footage right away because I had it. I was like, there we go. Perfect segue.
At 19, honey. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
I was such a baby and I was scared. I was like, I had no idea what this salsa community is about. I was just excited for the opportunity, and and so I moved to Spain. I moved to Spain to dance with him. I danced with the company for 3 years. Actually, that video I started as Ramon's partner. So Johnny danced with this girl named Sarai, which is the girl in the video at that moment. And I danced with Ramon. Ramon was my first dance partner. And, it was tough because I moved to Spain at the age of turning 20. I wasn't even 20 yet. I think I just turned 20 or something. Excuse me. And then from there, I didn't speak Spanish. I didn't know anything about this community. And I had to figure it out. And it was so tough. And it was a culture shock. And it was from every aspect. But it taught me so much. I definitely say it made me the woman I am today because it taught me so much and kind of shaped me to be the Shani in the salsa community, or the Shani, the adult 20 years old Shani lifetime. And I'm very grateful for it. And then a year later, we shifted to Italy. And that's when Johnny, Sarai didn't continue with us. And I became Johnny's partner. And we got another lady to dance with us, Vanessa. And that's how it's all shifted. Actually, it happened a little bit before we moved to Italy, but that's how I started dancing salsa and all.
Wow. I'm curious. I've been to Israel, but I've never been in the salsa scene there, which is like on my bucket list. What is the salsa scene like there? I know, in Philly, New York, you can pretty much find salsa dancing any night of the week. What about in Israel?
Yeah, so actually, when I started dancing salsa, the Israeli salsa scene was super, super Cuban. Like
Really?
very, almost everything was Cuban. Till now, it's still Cuban, but there's also LA mambo, but at Colombian, but at the time it was just like pure Cuban. So I actually started dancing Cuban salsa.
Oh,
I was a rueda teacher. I still know it. And that's what I started dancing, Cuban salsa, rueda, Afro-Cuban, a little bit from what was taught then, because it wasn't so common to teach it then. So to learn like Afro-Cuban, you have to go to the real like classes, but there were like very, very few of them, and like you have to know about it. It wasn't like public, a flyer that you can just follow and go.
yeah.
So the salsa scene, and then with the years, the salsa evolved. I remember I started dancing Cuban, and then at that time the LA style like was a little bit more like coming to the scene. So that's why Johnny Vasquez for us, for Israeli people at the time, was like God. We're like Johnny. So LA style, and then with the time it shifted to be more acceptive towards the on two and mambo, New York style and etc. Now salsa scene in Israel is huge. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. There's amazing dancer. There's a lot of Colombian style as well taught there. LA, New York, Rueda and Cuban always. And I feel like I haven't been in Israel for a long time, so I don't know, but there's a huge club called Havana Music Club, I believe. And I think they active like 3 to 4 days a week. And then there are other places that has social. So you can find almost every day where to go dancing. And
I love that.
or drive, Israel is so small that even if you drive to the north and it's literally like 40 minutes away, you can dance your ass off.
I love that. I love that. You could literally dance all over the country and just drive it. That's amazing. So you started working with Johnny. I'm assuming it was dancing on one because it's LA style. And then when did you become an on two dancer?
So I started dancing on two in Israel, but it wasn't to the point that I was like an on two dancer. Like I wasn't like telling myself, oh, I'm on two dance. I used to dance because people came from other places to Israel, and I would dance with them, such as Super Mario. We had, Ismael Otero came to the Israeli Salsa Congress when I was still living there, and I danced on two, but I would, it will be like my on one version 2 on 2. And then
we're all guilty of that at some point. We're all guilty of that one.
Like I dance on 2, but I count on 1. And I actually teach it like this: when you shift to dance on 2, I always say like count on 1 if you hear 1. I mean, we don't count on 2 when we dance on 2. We still count the 1. So that perspective of like this is on 1 and this is on 2 and they're completely different is absolutely wrong, because music is music and it's still, there's 1, 2, 3 there. But I understand the feeling of like 1, attack that 1. And then, because I would not say so much on 1, on 2, it's more the stylistic, the LA, New York, like LA that is more, and the New York is a little more, or mambo, whatever. So I feel that was the difference for me. So I think I started smoothing that transition as I was dancing with Johnny and traveling at this point. And then we were in Europe, and all the New York, dancers will come. At the time, it was a lot of Santo Rico. Yamule didn't even exist yet. It was more Santo Rico, Caribbean soul, Descarga Latina, people from Puerto Rico, from Molina, Felipe Polanco, Tito Ortos. Like, so I would social dance with these people, obviously in at the time. I love this video. It's a hustle routine. So I started dancing more on 2, like really understand the essence when I was social dancing as a dancer with Johnny, and I would social dance a lot with the New York people. And I remember like Ismael Otero, Caribbean Soul, and Santo Rico, Tomas Guerrero would always tell me like, you feel so good dancing, you like it really is in your blood. And I remember being like, oh my God, really? Because I was always like LA dancer. So
Mm-hmm.
I would love that. I always loved onto. I always felt mambo in New York. I always felt that timing. So yeah, that was really my transition. And then performing on two is when I moved to New York.
Gotcha. And this is you with Caribbean Soul,
Yeah.
correct?
So this is not Caribbean Soul. This is actually I moved to New York,
Oh,
and I started working in a dance studio at the time called Soho Dance Studios, and it was run by Raul Santiago.
you're right. I did have that in my notes. That's my bad. My bad. I had that correct. It's Soho Dance Studio featuring Ismael Otero and
Yes.
Shani Talmor. That's the name of the video. My apologies, guys. I got that wrong.
And we did a choreography, a hustle choreography, and you see me and Ismail over here living our hustle life.
I love hustle. I love
Yeah,
hustle.
I love hustle. And we competed. This was our competition piece, I think, and we competed. And this is the salsa part that we put in. It was like a mix of hustle and salsa. And we competed within Miami in Miami competition. Now it's Summit, but at the time it was just Miami competition, salsa hustle.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Okay, so tell me about how you ended up actually joining Caribbean Soul. Let's talk about that transition.
Yes. So Ismael Otero, the director of Caribbean Soul, he and I were friends from, literally day one. Ismael, they used to bring Ismael and John Jay to Israeli Salsa Congress. Ismael came with Yesenia. He came, I'm not sure if he came with Grisel, but I think he came either with Grisel. I know he came with Yesenia. And that's how we kind of met. We met through the congresses, in Israel, and we stayed friends because everybody loves Ismael. Everybody loves Ismael, especially in Israel. And that's how we stayed friends. And we stayed friends throughout the years. Like when I danced with Johnny and I would see him in congresses, we used to always like laugh and fool around. And like, John Jay and Ismael are like clowns.
Oh, such clowns.
So much.
So funny.
So we used to laugh and do like skits and stuff and whatever. And then when I moved to New York, when I was leaving Imperio Azteca, which is Johnny, I told Ismael that I'm moving to New York. And I said, I'm moving to New York. I don't know if you want to dance together, but I would like to dance with you because I feel like I always like his Caribbean style because Ismael was never like stuck to one, like, this is how we do. Every routine looks the same. This is our style. This is, you like have to learn. I felt like with Ismael, I'll be able to explore my creativity and and put an input as well on how it's going to be, like choreography wise, stylistic wise, ideas that we will have together. And I felt that it will be a really good place for me to, when I move to New York, and not just be like part of a company and have to adjust again my whole style and everything that I've built up so far with my time in Imperio Azteca, and me as an individual. So Ismael was like, his answer was exact, like, hell yeah, I want to dance with you. And so that's it. So this is actually one of our first choreographies, if I'm not wrong, or our second. And he really allowed me to explore my creativity and had a really like open mind and open heart. And we created beautiful things. I enjoyed so much dancing with Ismael. Yeah.
I love it. I've had several women already on the show that have come out of Caribbean Soul, and Desiree and Melanie, and you guys all say the same thing about Ismael. Like, there's a freedom that he gave you, and you're all able to really find yourselves. So I don't think it's a coincidence that there's so many badass women that have come out of that company. And I told them that at Summit. I was like, you keep getting brought up on my show. Like, for all that you've, and that says a lot. I think if I ever decide to have a guy on the show, it has to be someone like him that is such an ally for all of you guys,
Yeah, I agree. Ismael, and the beautiful part about Ismael is that he always takes really strong women and he always highlight them. Like he is, it's not about him. And he always say that. He always say the lady performer, you know, is the female performer, is the picture. I'm just the frame and I'm here to make you look good. And obviously he wants to look good as well. And he feeds off that energy. And that's a beautiful thing, especially in this salsa community that we
Mhm.
know it can be very men's world sometimes and very machismo sometimes. And it's a beautiful thing. And not that Ismael is not, you know, have his own like machismo or man ego, like that's a normal thing and everybody have it. But in the dance community, in the dance world, he really understands the strength of a woman, and he always
Mhm.
highlights that from day one. And I think that's honorable, beautiful, talented quality to have, you know.
Absolutely. We need more men like that in the business.
Period.
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 Period. I love it. Did you, I mean, once you came to the States, I know this is a question I've asked a lot of, I would say, our fellow white girl counterparts. Did you ever feel any pushback in the scene? Like, oh, what is this white girl trying to do here? Or like, she doesn't belong. Did you
Yeah.
ever get any of that?
You know, I actually have not. I
That's
have
amazing.
I have not. I heard a few arguments, not arguments, discussions about things like this, and I know it exists, obviously, but I specifically didn't because I don't know. I think I'm gonna say my assumption about that topic, but I think it's because I also have never seen myself like that. You know what I mean? I have never seen myself as the white girl who's coming into a scene that is not hers, or the white girl who's coming into like a culture that is not hers. I never thought about it because for me, dance is dance, music is music. It's beautiful that it can be, let's call it bilingual, right? It's beautiful
Mhm.
from a completely different culture and still feel the music, such as a Cuban woman, a Puerto Rican woman, a Colombian woman, you know, any woman really, or
Mhm.
you know. But for me, it's always about what this music does for my heart, what this music does for my soul. And I think because I've always interpreted it like this, I've never projected that thought of being like, oh, I don't belong here. You know, I'm like, this is where I belong. Absolutely, this is where I belong. So maybe that's the energy that I projected, and that's why I never got it back. I also always felt, I always actually got like, oh, you're not Puerto Rican? What?
Mhm.
You're not Colombian? You're not Brazilian? And I thought you're this, I thought you're that. I always got that. And again, maybe because I've always tried to study the culture my best and always try to do what I feel the most, and never really thought about, oh, this is not my thing. Like this is not where I
Mhm.
grew up. I also grew up around that music. Like my dad used to play in the house all kind of music. So for me, it was part of my upbringing. It was part of my culture in a way, you know, my home culture.
Mhm.
Um, so that's that. I never really received it. And I also think that I don't relate myself to like a white person. That's like an American thing for me. And I always saw myself as a Mediterranean. I always say like I'm from the Middle East.
Yeah.
I'm more from like the dark side of, you know, that for that. So, and I think again, it's how you see yourself and what the music make you feel, and you will define if you belong somewhere or not. Nobody is going to tell you you don't belong here.
Oh, I
So
love that.
that's really what I always seen myself.
Destiny also says she loves that. Destiny Garcia watching as always. Love you, girl. She's been on the show too. She says, hello, ladies.
Hi, Destiny.
Love you, girl. Another New York dancer, of course.
Yes.
Do you love the New York dance community and just how like it's
Yes.
just so like not on top of each other, but like yes, in
Not
a
on top
sense,
of each other.
on top of each other.
Yes, I actually do. I love New York. That's why one of the reasons why I moved out of New York for a hot second and I moved back to New York is because it was I New York is home. I missed I was missing when I was not in New York. The culture, the community, like the essence, and not just with the salsa dancers, but the salsa culture, the music. You know, New York has like you go, you know, Eddie Palmieri is performing here, and Tito Nieves performing here, and and then you have like Pedrito Martinez performing here, and Cuban and Puerto Ricans, and then bomba and plena, and you go, and it's just so fully cultured, and it's missed when I'm not in New York. When I wasn't living in New York, I was missing that a lot. And good quality. I was just telling my boyfriend the other day that, like, if you're a working musician in New York, no matter where you at, like if you play in a rinky dinky type of club or like a huge company or like band or whatever, you're good. Like there's no way you can live off music and dance in New York, like live off it money wise and not be good. You have to be good because it's so cultured, and people will just know if you're not good. Like people will not follow you or come and want to see you, and etc. So I love the community. I love, and of course I love the salsa and the dancing, and as much as we're on top of each other, and like all the goodies that comes with it as well.
Of course, all the good stuff.
I do love that as well, because I understand it's part of it, and you just need to know how to maneuver around it with it. And once you do, you're like, all right, I'm good, because the good overcome the bad. Let's say it like that.
I think another great thing about New York is you get to dance with more than one amazing partner. Talk about your partnership with Sekou.
Oh my God, Sekou. Sekou is like my brother from another mother. And when me and Sekou perform together, it's a party. We have so much fun. We have really good creativity together. We build up really nice choreos beautifully together. This is one of them. I had an input on it, but it wasn't like I didn't start this routine with him. It was actually Chachi that started this, and then I learned it, and we readjusted it and changed and modified it to what it became, Yatrata, and it became really one of the most famous routines of ours. And people were like asking for it, which I feel like till this day, if you tell me right now, like perform it, I'm like, I remember it, because that's how we love that. But I love working with Sekou. Sekou is another brilliant dancer, choreographer, director. And we really connect off and on the dance floor. So
how did you guys first, like, what was that first meeting like?
Believe it or not, Ismael suggested it because I do jazz. Sekou does jazz. He's a jazz dancer as well in his, bass and Latin jazz. My earring fell. I'm just fixing it.
It's all good, girl. It's all good.
So
here, I'll zoom in on this for a second so you can fix your earring and off camera.
Here we go. I'm back.
All right, and she's back, ladies and gentlemen.
So Sekou was moving to New York, and he was like looking for dancers to just explore and dance with. And then me and Ismael were already dancing together. I think we were in the same Congress. I think it was Chicago, I'm not sure. And Ismael told Sekou, Shani's jazz dancer, maybe you should use her. And it was supposed to be just one little project or something, and then it turned to this beautiful partnership that we just continue. We loved working together, and we loved our creativity together, and we loved being in the room together. So we just kept on and on and on, and that's how it came about. But Ismael suggested it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know what's going on here. I had more videos of the two of you, but they seem to be missing from my playlist. I don't know why. But that's okay. We're going to go back a little bit, and I'm going to show this video. Let's go back to the full screen here. Another performance of you and Ismael's.
Oh, yeah. This is one of my favorite choreographies as well.
And one of my favorite costumes of yours.
Yes. You know who designed this costume? Anya.
Did she really?
Anya designed this costume, yes.
Of course she did. Hi, Anyushka. We love you.
We love it.
The crew.
Oh, yeah. That is my favorite costumes as well. One of my favorite costumes. It was so simple. It was one of like the most simple. Actually, it wasn't so simple because it has a lot of like glittery ruffle individually. But like as far as like stones and stuff, it wasn't like I had to sit 7 hours and stone it. But it's one of my favorite, most comfortable costumes I've ever had.
Wow,
yes.
And you said this was also one of your favorite pieces that you guys did?
Yes, I think this was like, so this is like one of the third or fourth choreos. And I think at that point, me and Ismail, like, we're already established very much our partnership, our dynamic, our interaction, off and on the dance floor, in the studio. And I think we matured up a little bit. This was more of like our mature choreographies later down the line of our partnership. And I feel like the movement is a little bit more grounded. It has a mix of a bunch of things. It's a little faster. I mean, we always dance fast, but it's a little bit more faster, controlled. Our connection was a little stronger at that point. Like I could have been like, and I knew exactly where his hand will be. When in before I had to be like, have to make sure I see it. And now I would be like, eh. So I could have been a little bit more in the performance aspect of it. Yeah.
You love performing?
Hmm?
Do you love performing?
Oh, I love performing. I love performing. I miss it. I haven't performed. That's one thing that pandemic, like, obviously took from me, but from all of us. But I know a lot of people jumped right back to it now. And I'm now working on creating my new solo. But and doing more shows, hopefully. But here's that custom again. I used it. I said, this is not going to wait.
Solo. So I had to transition to the next solo,
Whoa.
You're giving me great segues here with this videos. It's kind of perfect. I love it.
I love it. But yeah, I love performing. I miss it. I'm looking forward to perform again. I don't feel like in a place of like, oh my God, I need to perform, because I dance a lot. I dance all the time. I danced throughout the entire pandemic. And I think every time I dance, if it was for like a video to shoot for Instagram or for my class, I try to tap into that moment of like, okay, let's pull up, opposed to like, okay, let me just show you the steps. Let me kind of perform it in a way. So I do feel like I'm constantly performing, even if it's like 30 seconds here and there. But yeah, I miss like the stage and the lights and the people and the energy of performing. But yeah, I love performing. It's like a transition. You become, I'm not going to say a better version of yourself, but it's like an upgrade version of yourself for a hot second, because you get to be in a spotlight. You get to be seen, just you. You get to say like, okay, guys, right now you are looking at me and I have to deliver something that will make you feel something and entertain you. Not for the fact of like, oh, look at me, but more of like, I have to transmit something that you're going to have to feel as well. So I have to tap into a different aspect of myself, of my emotions as well. And I love that transition, like inner transition that's happening when you perform.
You like solo work, or does it scare you?
I do. I used to not like it. There was times that I was going through also like, a lot of things, and I had to do a solo, and you're like, ugh, now I have to like go on stage on my own and like, be happy on my own. And it's just kind of, it's hard sometimes. It's hard. It's really hard to perform alone. But I do love it, because you can also like say whatever and like do whatever you want and feel whatever you want and like go in. You're not like, there's nothing depending on anybody but yourself. So it's a great feeling. Yeah, I do like to do solo. I used to be afraid of it though, because you're like by yourself. You're like, but I think the more I learned the technique of solos, I enjoyed it very much, and now I love it.
Since we have a close-up look of this costume as opposed to the last video, I've always wanted to ask, the thing down the leg?
Yes, it's like, so it's a string that comes out from like the actual side of the costume, like let's say from the thigh area, and then you just kind of go and you wrap it around like a lace, and then you tie it in the back.
I've been meaning to ask you about that costume since I first saw it. I'm so glad I got to find. I'm like, what is happening down the leg? I love it.
Yeah, and it would be a little annoying sometimes, because like you have to like exit, in a way that it actually stays and not slide down. Like be too tight and I can't like really move, or it will like, I would take it off and you can see the signs of the costume, and it will stay like this for hours. I'll be in my skirts in the Congress, and I would still have that X on my leg. But yeah, it's beautiful. You just have to like wrap.
I'm wondering, how could you still see the X with the fishnets? Because I still have like the fishnet thing when I take them off.
Yes, I would put it over the fish, but because again it would slide, I would have to really do it tight and like put it
Mhm.
exactly on my leg, and yeah, and it would like stay, and it was like.
Javier Vasquez is saying hello, Shani.
Javier is one of my beautiful students. Mwah, and beautiful human beings. Thank you,
Love it.
Javier.
Love it. We're going to go to another partner of yours. Some would say one of the most iconic men in this business.
Yes.
Talk about you and the Mambo King.
Eddie. Eddie is everybody's father in the salsa community, but I had a really beautiful connection, also spiritually, with Eddie. So besides being just one of my mentors and dance partner, he's very close to my heart as well. I started dancing with Eddie actually when me and Ismael were like, ending our partnership. I had a friend from Spain, Gregory, and they him and his partner stayed in my house, and they visited. So they said, oh, we're going to go to Eddie's class on Sunday. Eddie used to have a really, really big class on Sunday, which used to be the advanced class.
Mhm.
So Eddie, Gregory said, I'm going to class. You want to come with me? But I used to dance so much. I used to rehearse. I used to take class. I used to teach. That Sunday, I was like, I'm not doing nothing on Sunday. Sunday is my day off. So Gregory was like, no, you're coming with me to class. And I said, no, I don't want to come. I want to just sit on my booty and do nothing.
Mhm.
And he obligated me to go. I was like, fine, I'll go. Mind you, at this point, I live in New York for like 4 years. Not once I stepped a foot in Eddie's class. And
Shame on you. No.
I shame on me, really. I'm like, really? And so I went that day, and that day I came, and Eddie, I knew Eddie from obviously the congresses and the community, obviously. And Johnny and Eddie have a really strong connection. So obviously I was always in Eddie's eyes, right? In Eddie's vision, let's say. And so when I came to class, Eddie says, oh my God, it took Gregory and 4 years for you to step a foot here. And I said, I know, I'm so sorry. I'm going to start coming more. And he was like, who you dance with now? And I said, well, me and Ismael are just, ending our partnership. We have a few gigs left, but that's it. And he goes, would you like to dance with me? Literally like that in the end of the class. And at that point in my heart, I was like,
Of course.
like, but outside I was like, oh my God, Eddie, that will be such an honor. Like, how to keep my cool. But inside I was like, oh, I can't believe it. Like, I meant to come today. Gregory meant to be with me and obligated, because it was literally like an argument. No, you're coming. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm coming. No, you're not. So I ended up coming, and that turned out my whole, life and career to that level, to this experience, beautiful experience, for about 3 years. Yeah. I danced with Eddie for about 3.5 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Was it nerve-wracking getting out on stage with him that first time?
Oh my God, absolutely. Because there's so many expectations, and I also came, I was his partner after Grisel Ponce, which are big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I never really looked at it like this, because I always respect. I always respected I always respect Grisel so much, and I love how she dances, and I love her, her period. And I loved her partnership with Eddie. But coming after, not so, and again, this goes back to what I said in the beginning. I never really looked at things how people look at it, because I always was like, focus on what I'm doing. I always like, focus on what I'm doing, focus on what I feel, and that's it. But people, people in the community is obviously trying to compare, or, be just like, see the next thing and like butching chat a little bit. That's just the community and nature of human nature, I think. So coming after Grisel and having people say like, oh, let's see what this is about now. Or I love, like a lot of people love Eddie and Grisel just like me. So I understand that it can be like, let's see Shani and Eddie, and I remember, like, for example, Albert Torres, there was one Congress that I was one of the first Congresses with Eddie, and he goes, how do you feel, right before the show? And I said, oh, I'm excited. Like at this point, I already performed with Eddie a couple of times. And he was like, yeah, you getting into big shoes. And he meant that exactly what I just said. And that was the first time that I was like, oh my God, I actually do. I do. And not that I would act differently or anything if he wouldn't say that comment, but it made me realize like, oh yeah, I am getting into like a really big position here. But I always was focused on what I feel and what to do. But the nerve wracking was that it's Eddie Torres, like,
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
oh my God, standing next to him, I don't want to mess up. I want to do my best. I want to enjoy it as well. And Eddie always made it very, very comfortable. So I think I was nervous because the nature of it, but after a while it was just so lovely. You know, it was so enjoyable and so just like, let's go, like just that. So
I
yeah.
love it. I will say something I noticed as a spectator of his for so
Mhm.
many years and seeing him perform with Grisel, with you, with other women. There's something about the way he leads a woman when
Yes.
you're watching that he's very much taking care of you.
Oh yeah.
Am I correct in this assumption? Like that's what it feels like? Because that's what it looks like to those of us that are watching. Like his focus when he's dancing with the woman is just to take care of her.
Correct. Yes. It feels very, very comfortable. He feels like I never felt like, oh my God, I'm uncomfortable. I'm going to fall. Or he also rehearsed things so much. Like Eddie loves to rehearse. So Eddie would take, like, let's say a partner work, like that we have a section, and let's say we have 10 bars. He would take 2 bars at a time and just like drill it, drill it, drill it, drill it. And then we move on to the next two. And then we'll drill the 10 bars for like ever. So it feels very comfortable and you feel very, very taken care of, really. It doesn't feel like, oh my God. And, you know, things can happen.
Of
Things
course.
the hand, you can, whatever, but he definitely takes care of the partner on the floor, on the stage, and off the stage. Like Eddie has this thing. I love chocolate. And he would buy me every time we would meet at the airport to travel somewhere. Eddie will be there early as usual, and I would come a little later. And he will wait for me with like this Godiva chocolate
Oh
things
my
that
God.
every trip, and he would be like, partner, and he would just like pull it out, and like this like little box of chocolates.
I
And
love that.
yes, and things like this, like, you know, like take care of, like things like this, or be like, let's go have breakfast, and like make sure that I eat, make sure that, and it's funny because I would take care of him too, you know.
Mhm.
But he definitely take care of his partner, make sure everything is always good, and yeah, and obviously as a partner as well.
I believe this is a gig of yours that you did with him in Israel, if
Yes.
I'm not mistaken. I don't know why the quality, I don't know. I think it's because of the background. When you guys will start dancing, it's a little
More.
but the performance was just phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and it was such an honor for me, you know, to come back to Israel Congress with the king of Mambo, and you
That was
know,
going to be my question. What was it like to go back to Israel with the King of Mambo, knowing that's where you started?
yes, and it, you know, it's funny because like I started dancing, I in Israel, left Israel, came back to Israel Congress with Johnny, which was one of like check mark for me, like because I represent Israel in the end of the day, like,
Yes, you do.
you know, and I'm one of like, I'm not going to say the only because I'm not the only, but one of the main dancers or the first dancers to really make it in the salsa scene internationally representing Israel. And I carry that title with honor. And I'm like, I used to be like shy about it. And now I'm like, no, I represent my country. And, you know, I started in Israel, and I will always like represent Israel. So to come back with Johnny first was like, wow, because especially what Johnny means for Israel, you know, salsa community. And then to come back with Eddie was another achievement for me because I was like, I always want to show like, guys, look, I'm pushing, I'm doing it, I'm pushing forward, I'm elevating myself. I'm trying to inspire people to also chase their dreams and do things that are possible, that, you know, maybe when you in Israel, you think, how will I make it? How will I get out there? How will I, you know, get to those levels of even relationships, not even level of dancing, or just relationships. Like
Hmm.
it feels unachievable, not because you can't, it's just because the distant in the end of the day. Like
Yep.
it's two sides of the world, you know, and when I came back, it felt such an honor to show my community, like, guys, I am pushing, I am doing it for us, for me, for everybody.
Hmm.
But But if it wasn't for also the support and the love that my people give me at all times, it would not even be worth it like that. But it's such an honor to come back and get the love and appreciation from everybody, and with the king of mambo,
I love it.
Grateful.
Joe Figueroa is watching. He says, "Hey, Sharonne. Hey, Shani.
Hi, Joe. Oh,
What's up, partner?" This is a video. It
Yes.
says that it's for Madonna and
Yes.
a Smirnoff campaign.
Correct. Oh my
God. What? Talk to me about this, please.
Oh my God, I forgot about this video. So yes, that's
Tango.
That's Tango.
I love it.
That is crazy. So me and Siku were in the same agency. I'm still with them, and Siku, I think, changed agencies now. But at that time, they sent us an audition to come audition for Madonna. And Madonna had a huge campaign, with Smirnoff. And basically that campaign was about finding her next, this is so funny, finding her next dance tour dancer. So she basically hired dancers, and then there was one dancer that she was looking from a competition. And they had this huge campaign and launched it. And you can't really see it, but on the table where you see the chairs, people are in the back. That's where her choreographers, and that's where she was sitting. And basically,
oh, wow.
Yeah, we came to audition for that, and we auditioned with salsa and tricks and stuff. And they loved us, and they said, "Okay, we know you're doing salsa, but can you do tango?" And we were like, "Yeah, we can." And we just like did whatever we knew from then and from what we knew. And they hired us, and it was beautiful because they let us also choreograph. Some of those parts are actually our choreography.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was a huge campaign all over the USA, but the final was in New York City, in I forgot the ballroom that we performed. And there was basically 3 stages, like big stage in the middle, and then the 2 bigger, smaller, medium stages on the side where she was sitting, and etc. And we were just doing the tango section, the partnering section. So it was for her, not with her. It was for her campaign. She was sitting right there, like I was turning, and like I was staring at Madonna's face.
I would have freaked the heck out, man.
And her choreographers were right there, and it was just a beautiful experience. And we actually stayed in contact with them for a while after, and it's just great experience.
How long did you and Sekou work together for?
I think like officially we worked for like 4 or 5 years together, but we never really ended our partnership. We just started doing other things, and each shift. But we always consider each other as partners. Like till this day, like we always talk about doing things together and teaching together, or doing another show together. Just the other day, we were celebrating Sekou's birthday, and we were just saying like we need to go back to the studio and just create and do something.
I know that would excite a lot of people.
I know people always tell us, "You guys should do it." Like
really should. It was a great partnership. Like you said, you guys are both jazz dancers, so you're both so versatile. You can do so much. I think a lot of people would be really excited to see you guys come back together on stage. I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, here's another mixed style, right?
Yes. So this choreography is called Palladium. I think it was the fastest choreography of all times. But I love this choreo as well, because we try to get like a little bit tap into the classic Palladium style mambo mixed with new things at the time, fast partner work and a little bit more fast footwork, but yet with the style and the elegance of the Palladium days. But it was fast and hard.
I remember this routine very well. When I was looking for videos, I'm like, where's the blue dress one? Where is it?
I know. And that dress is funny because this dress, I bought it from Elisa Rosado, which is a very good friend of mine as well. A beautiful, beautiful dancer. Also one of Eddie's partners. And I needed like a dress that is more elegant. And I think we made this choreo so fast, and we already had a gig. And I told Melissa, I need a dress and like it's Palladium style. And she had that. And I was like, can I just buy it from you? And that's what happened. I bought it from her, and I love that dress. I don't know where it's at actually. Maybe I don't know where that dress is anymore.
Listen, it's been COVID. You've had time at home to go through your boxes and just see everything.
No, it's really not. I actually did fix all my costumes. I have no idea where this dress is.
Well, you lived in Israel. You lived in LA. Call up your peeps and be like, did I leave this somewhere?
Maybe Melissa has it. I'm going to text her after
There
this.
you go. There you go. But I love it. Who actually makes your costumes?
So a few people.
Okay.
I had a girl from that I found through a ballroom community. I had a girl that she still does dresses in the Bronx. I had a girl in LA. I had a girl in Brooklyn that Anya actually recommended. She did a bunch of my costumes. There's a beautiful dancer here in New York now that do not ask me for their names because it's saved on my phone, but it's a lot. But they're beautiful dancers as well. They're in the ballroom community that does dresses. I had one of my students, one of my latest costume with the poofy sleeves. One of students from Canada or Texas, I can't remember. She made costumes and she took my class one day in a Congress and she says, "Oh, I do costumes." And I'm like, "Oh my God, let me know, give me your number." And then when I needed a costume, I texted her and she just like made it, shipped it, and it was perfect. I know one girl in Turkey. I haven't used her yet, but I heard beautiful things about her, and I might use her for my next costume. So we'll see. There's a bunch of people who do my costumes. Yeah, and some I just bought, like this yellow one that you just showed. I found it in a costume store here in New York, a ballroom store here in New York, and it was sized for kids.
What?
It's a kid's costume. That's why sometimes it's a little tight on my stomach if I am like, not on my diet. It can be a little tight. But I bought it. I just bought it. I was like, I love it. I bought it. Done. I didn't
Coming up, this next costume of yours is another one of my favorites.
Oh my God, this is one of my favorite costumes. Yeah, this costume actually Anya designed as well. Anya designed
Great job, Anya. Beautiful. Round of applause for that one.
It was a mix. Well, this design, it was like a mix of a vision that I had, and Anya put it into like drawing. And it's because I saw a picture of like a dress that just does like a net. It looked like a fish net, like a fisher net, not a fish net, a fisher net. And it was nude. And I told Anya, I want a white dress, I want ruffle, I want like red. I wanted to make it a little bit like Spaniard. And then I sent her the picture of the one I saw, because I always get inspiration from picture, and I save them. And then I say, I like this bottom with this top, with this back, with this side thing, with this, can it be? And Anya kind of draw it together, and it turned to this beautiful costume, which is one of my favorites. I have it in my closet. I know where it's at. And yeah, that is beautiful, beautiful costume. And it also had a beautiful meaning for this choreography with Eddie, which is also one of my favorite choreographies.
I wish I could play the music, but then the fight's it, and I'd rather hear what you have to say. But guys, you can find all of these videos on YouTube. Just type in Shani Talmor. She has a YouTube page that you can follow. But I just did a search and I found like 40 some videos, and I still had to cut that down. We're not going to get through all of them today. We're trying to power through. That's why we're not seeing full performances. But you've just had such an incredible career, and
Thank you.
I want to be able to show as much as possible. And again, the costumes, and let's be real. A lot of people like this business because they like to look at the costumes.
Yeah. And, and that's another thing I just spoke about with my boyfriend the other day, because I mean, in the end of the day, looks is a thing, and I know there's a lot of times that we say like, love your body. It's not about that. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is appearance, like representative. Like there's stuff that comes with the part. You can go on stage and wear whatever and dance your ass off and still get a standing ovation. Yes, but there's outfits, there's uniform that comes with the job, and you have to present. Like it's like me going to a restaurant and the waiter has all stained. You're going to be like, wait a minute. Or like me going to the gym and have my trainer come in PJs. You were like, Come
Really?
on, let's be a little bit more representative. And I think costumes is one of when you go on stage and you see a beautiful woman, doesn't matter
Hmm.
the size, doesn't matter, and she's wearing a beautiful costume and and carry it. Like here, this is a simple costume, right? There's
Yep.
no stones on it, there's no rhinestones, but it's about like the how you carry it and how it shows your off your body. Even if it's simple, it should show off your body in the way that you feel good about it, that you go on stage and it makes you feel beautiful and make you feel strong and makes you feel empowered. And you need to
Hmm.
get whatever that what that is. And if I always have my hair, most of the times I have my hair down because I love working with my hair when I perform, it makes me feel good. So
Yep. Hairography is a thing. It's a
choreography
thing.
is the thing, honey. So and that's what really matters, like in the end of the day. So there's a big thing about watching a beautiful choreography, but also beautiful costume and beautiful. It's part of it. The most fun part is to create your costume for the show, and rhinestone it and put it on, and you're like, you're a princess for a second, like, and
Mhm.
you live it, and it's beautiful.
And I think it definitely is a character, right? Part of the character. It's what helps
Exactly.
you create that persona for that routine. Like if you
Exactly.
came out for this in the dress that you wore in the last one, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
just wouldn't make sense for the routine. Is this your first bachata performance? Because
Oh
this
my
was the
God,
only
yes.
one I could find.
That's the only bachata. I did two bachata routines with Ataka and
Mhm.
Rudy, El Tigre.
Rudy. Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because it started because they were actually visiting in Israel casually at the same time that I did. And they had this other choreography that I love, love, love. And I always said, like, oh my God, I love this choreo. I want to learn it. And then when I was in Israel, they said, do you want to learn it? We can perform it here. And I said, yes. So I learned it. We did it in literally like two rehearsals. Mind you,
Love it.
I'm not like, I do bachata, yes, but I'm not a bachata dancer. So believe it or not, it was not easy for me to like perform bachata. It's different. Definitely different. And at the time, I think I cared a little bit, maybe too much about what people will think,
Mhm.
and I was a little nervous. But yeah, and then we did, because people really loved that thing we did in Israel. So Rudy said, people love us together, do you want to do this with us and go to, and then we did this was Paris. I think we went to Paris Congress and we performed this choreo. So I danced this combination, this
I
choreo.
love it. I love it. You had another partnership with Omar
Oh yes, for a hot second.
for a hot second. Hot second.
Yeah, Omar. I love Omar Omambo from LA. And when I moved to LA, I actually moved to LA when I moved to LA in order to train with an amazing mentor of mine. Her name is Dana Folia, and she's actually one of Beyonce choreographers. She has her own company, Dana Folia Dance Company. She's amazing. So I moved to LA and I was focused on that. But in LA at that time, it was hard to find somebody who does like classic mambo, like classic New York style. And Omar, obviously he like really embedded himself in that. And yeah, and we did that, and we went to Japan. This was Japan, this performance, and we did. But at that time, it was hard because we lived far from each other, and LA has crazy traffic, and it was really
Mhm.
hard to be able to have consistent rehearsals, especially with the training schedule that I had. And at the time, I still traveled with Eddie, so it was
Mhm.
just so much going on, and we just like part ways.
Do you have a different feel when you dance on stage with a guy than when you dance with a girl?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a different feeling because I feel like obviously when you dance with a lady, it's a little bit more like there's a different power that you have to embrace. It's like the feminine power, right?
Mhm.
The energy, the feminine energy, and a woman energy, like carry another. Like when you on stage, you carry each other. You carry yourself, but you carry each other with another partner. I feel like the difference is with a man is just like any interaction with a man and a woman, that a man, my opinion, should have the masculine energy, and a female should have the female energy. um I'm not going to go into like same gender or whatever, because that's a different subject, but even that partnership has a different, with both men, both women, has a different elements, but when it's same general, but also same, let's say, um, level. And what I
Mhm.
mean by level is that we're not partnering here.
Yep.
We're both dancing next to each other equally. Like there's no partner work, right?
Yes.
There's more of that playfulness. There's more of that feminine playfulness of like, look at you. Oh, I'm cute. Look at you. I'm cute. You're cute. I know I'm cute. You're cute too. I know. Like that little playful between two women who really embrace each other. There's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, we partner work or we're competing. It's not about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about competing with each other or competing in the circumstances. It's not like a competition choreo that both women needs to like, let's go. No, it's just more like we're sharing the space, we're sharing the energy, we embracing each other, beautiful feeling, beautiful movement, beautiful appearance. And we just, so there is a different energy. When with the men, I don't need to do that. I don't
Yeah.
need to like, you're beautiful. I don't need to do that and get that, oh, I know I'm beautiful, thank you. Like there's no that. It's more about the power, like what is your job in this partnership, what is my job in this partnership. And it's like when I dance, I'm talking about myself only, with the men, I usually dance with men that are very masculine, very powerful, very strong, very confident and secure. So I don't need to elevate that. I kind of need just to feed off that as a female, and a woman, and then embrace and lift myself and carry my power. So there's a complete different energy for me when I perform with a woman or with a man. Yes, absolutely.
Do you have a preference if you had to choose between only doing solos, only dancing with a male partner, or only doing like female shine things like with another woman? What would you pick if you
Um,
could only do one?
right. If I oof, um, it's hard because it's definitely different. But I'm gonna eliminate what I won't, and that make it easier maybe for the answer too.
Okay.
I will not choose a solo just because I love sharing energy. I love the euphoria of to become one. I love the to have a like a and see somebody's eyes and catch
Mhm.
somebody's energy and just like I love the I'm a people person. I'm an energy. I feed off energy. I live by energy. So I won't choose to be alone on stage if I only can choose. Do I love and do I live on stage by myself? Yeah, but it's not my preference. Um, I don't know if I have to choose between just women or a man and a woman. I think it's also a very hard answer, but I think just because of my experience by far, I love a man and a woman. I just feel like I love that balance of energy. I
Mhm.
love what a man can bring to the table in a show. I love that there's more like stuff that we can do, partner work, lifts, tricks. I just love that. And I love that it caters to both worlds. Like when a
Mhm.
man and a woman dance on stage, men look at men and men look at women and women look at men and women look at women, and I love that there's that preference when I guess just women, it can be tricky, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's just my preference. So I guess my answer will be a man.
Gotcha. Well, I will say this for someone who doesn't really like to do the solo or likes the solo part least, you definitely kill it. This was you winning first place in California, right? In LA at the solo championship.
Yes. Yes.
And I see, and there's elements of both. I mean, not that you're, I don't know, I want to make sure I worded this correctly. You're not being masculine, but you're being strong, right?
Yes.
You have the moments of really strong and getting down, and then you have your beautiful styling. So it's very feminine.
Thank you.
And I think that dynamic that you show those both sides, I think that is why you won.
Thank you. And it's something.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Thank you. No, and it's something that I always actually also hear from people and students and people who are close to me that, and it's funny because like things I usually say is things that of course I think of myself, but I do always very very open for an opinions of others who are close to me and valid, obviously.
Mhm.
Like I value their opinion, not just like I care about people's opinion like that, but I care about the people who are close to me and critique, like criticism, like constructive criticism, right?
Yeah.
And what I always get is that people most of the time relate to me, men and women, because I do cater to those both worlds. I know I'm very feminine in my movement, because
Mhm.
that's how I am in life, and that's how I am in with my dancing, and also because I understand. For me, I understand what a movement should be when you're trying to project a certain emotion or a certain feeling. Like if you're trying to project softness and kindness and gentle and like, sexy and fluidity, then the movement needs to be that. It needs to be those water signs, right? The
Yeah.
water sign, the air, the wind, like things like this. Like it's just like music. Like dance is music. So when sometimes you're in a chaos feeling in your mind, you're not gonna put like techno and I don't know, like crazy like house. If you want to be like zen, you will
Yeah.
put stuff that are more instrumental. So I think movement is obviously just the same, because it's the extension of music, and vice versa. So, and then there's that side of like the strength and the power and the groundingness and the security and the believing in yourself and powerful. And I think I'm always trying to cater to that, because again, in the end of the day, that's who I am. So
Mhm.
it's not like I'm only going to do this, or I'm only going to do this, like, no, you got to be both, because that's who I am as a person, and I always try to bring who I am to the dance floor
Mhm.
first, and be true to who I am. And I think that's also because we are in a world of like men, women, and it's a mixed
Mhm.
dance. So I do want to have, and I do have men that are amazing, strong, beautiful dancers, male, coming to my class and kill it. And they're
Yeah.
not feeling like this is just feminine, this is more feminine. No. And I love that I'm able to explore both worlds.
I love it. So we're going to segue into another big achievement that you had in your career. And probably like if I was thinking about whose career I'd like to emulate or like what was on my bucket list, I think yours is probably the most similar because I've always wanted to do this.
Broadway.
Broadway. I've always wanted to do Broadway. I mean, I grew up studying musical theater and ballet and singing and everything. And you got to do Broadway. You were in on your feet. You did it on Broadway and the national tour. I know you did the national tour because you got me and my mom tickets for her birthday.
Right.
And that was just amazing. She loved it. You even got us on stage afterwards. And that was like a dream come true. But talk to me about doing Broadway.
Oh my God. So Broadway is obviously the highlight of my life, and
Mhm.
especially a show that is Latin, that is talking about immigration, that's talking about, insecurities, that's talking about achieving your goals, fighting for it, injury, family. It's literally a show that taps into every aspect in this universe. Um,
Mhm.
is it a story about a pop star, Latin pop star? Yes, but the way it was made very beautifully, it's just a show that touches everybody's hearts. And I lived in New York. My dream, I mean, I live in New York, but at the time I lived in New York, and my dream was to do Broadway. I moved to New York for that, and I auditioned for so many shows and made it almost till the end. Like I made it to the end and didn't book it. And it was like exhausting after a while.
Mhm.
And here comes this opportunity to audition, and I wasn't able to go. And I was like, no, on your feet, it's a Gloria Stefan, I love Gloria. I wasn't able to go. And then I moved to LA to train with Dana Folia. And then like a year later, Maria Torres, which you've seen for a hot second in the video,
Mhm.
she was one of my mentors, Maria Torres O'Connor. And she was one of my mentors. And she said, Shani, I was able to submit you for the lab. So the lab is when before the show comes out, there's like you take a few dancers, you go into,
Mhm.
a studio for 8 hours a day, and you just create, and you see how movement sits on people's bodies. You feed off their suggestion and energy. So she was able to get me into a week lab with Sergio, this guy, which is the beautiful, amazing, talented Tony winner choreographer. And I was able to get into the lab, and that was the first time I was like, oh my God, this caliber. And then a year later, the show was already showing on Broadway. It opened up for like 4 months at that time. And a year later, some lady got injured, and they called me in to audition for the replacement. And I lived in LA, and I flew to New York. I literally landed like at 6 in the morning, and like the audition was at 9. And it was so beautiful, like to be on the stage and audition on a Broadway stage. And then I booked it, and I booked it, and it was a beautiful 3 months that I did per track, right? I did a track. A track means that you perform every day. You get a track, you learn the choreo, and that was an amazing experience. I got to work with the most amazing, talented people, and people that I also looked up to from the original cast of In the Heights that at the time, got off Broadway, but I knew them and followed them. And that was amazing. And being that caliber of work, being that caliber of professionalism, being that world, a theater world is completely different world from what I've known. But I had all my life experience and all the congresses and things I've been through in the commercial world that I was able to fit. And of course, I learned so much. And then after those 3 months, the company shifted me to be the swing of the show, which was another new experience. So the swing basically learn
Every part. Yep.
Everybody, and you just kind of wait for something to happen, meaning somebody to, God forbid, get injured and get off the show, have a headache, not feel good, throw up, or just take a day off or take a vacation, and just live their life. And then you get in. But you have to constantly memorize everybody's parts and be able to dance with everybody and get right into the show. And it's a very hard job, to be a swing. And I was able to go and be that. And then later on, when the tour opened, be on the tour for 2 years and traveled with this show everywhere. I think it made me really mature. It really made me mature up in the professional world, and in the personally, on your feet also helped me in really tough times, really hard that I was going through. On your feet gave me like that breath. On a daily basis, and like a world to go in and become another character and feed off energy and live and create a story. Because I feel like salsa shows as well, not to take away from it, of course, but it's a different type of performance. Like you go in, you salsa, and you like, and you 3 minutes and you go off. In a Broadway show, you get to tell a story.
Yep.
For 2.5 hours. And really, like, for example, see people, like, we see faces, especially the first rows, right? And see people like bawl their eyes out, and like you know why, and it's your responsibility to create that, and like it's just amazing, and it taught me so much how important art is, and how important to tell a story is, and how important it is to bring that to the table every time you perform, and not just go and do some moves and get out and like. Not. And so I definitely see art and see performances in different aspect now. So I'm so grateful for that opportunity.
All right. So I know I had a clip of this going earlier. How much did In the Heights, did On Your Feet prepare you for In the Heights?
Oh, I think On Your Feet prepared me, period. I think salsa world and salsa experience and commercial worlds, gigs I've done before prepared me for On Your Feet and Broadway. And that prepared me for where I'm at, especially now in my life. But, just to be able to carry the way I carry myself on set, the mindset, how to carry yourself in the rehearsal room. Like we went into, for example, to learn this opening part of this in the movie. I was not supposed to do it. I was also booked to do the club scene. And then the choreographer, amazing human being, Chris Scott, told me, available next week to also do the opening scene. And I was like, yes. And I walked into rehearsal with some of the freaking best dancers in the hip hop of New York. And now I have to learn styles that I never did. Like this style, actually, it's called light feet, and it's light feet. And it's really like a specific cultural style from New York City that I had no clue about. And I had to learn it, and like not only learn it, it's culture. So actually look the part. So, just mindset, how to carry yourself in the room, how to process the information, how to not stress, how to accept it, transition it into my body, how to communicate with other dancers, how to stay focused, how to stay consistent, how to take care of my body, how to be like responsible about the work that I have to do and not go out drink and go crazy and not sleep. Like 8 hours of sleep was a thing for me when we were shooting, so I can be ready for a 12, 14-hour day of shoot, stuff
Absolutely.
like that.
Absolutely.
So definitely On Your Feet prepared me mindset, and you live and learn through the hard experiences. So,
and there you are, by the way, for anybody who wants to know where to spot Shani. She's in the blue outfit.
Yes,
over by the over there she is. So when you watch the movie, just now, oh, there she is again.
Yes,
you can watch the video, the movie, and I suggest everybody watch the movie.
Yes.
And the dance featurette.
Yes,
You have HBO Max. There's a dance featurette, and we get a close-up look of all of you guys working on it, which was so great.
God, it's so good. It's so great that they did it and highlighted the dancers.
It was amazing. I know you've been doing a lot of classes. You're back to teaching in person. You have also been doing the virtual thing. I got to take one of your classes during quarantine. It was so much fun. Yeah, it was like a funky pachanga on thing. It was so good. I think you were in LA because it was like you were outside and there were like
it was Miami.
Okay. You were somewhere nice.
Yeah, Miami. Somewhere Caribbean.
Somewhere Caribbean. And we've had your information scrolling on the bottom of the page of where people can follow you on Facebook and Instagram and your website. But why don't you let people know what you have coming up right now in person, anything exciting and new?
Yes, so I haven't like officially announced it yet, as far as like a post or thing. But
wait, am I getting an exclusive?
You do, because I wanted to post it today, and then I posted a video, and then I was like, I'll just post it when I'll post it. So I'll tell you guys here. I mean, some know it's not like a secret, obviously, but I am very, very excited to be working on Your Feet. As an associate choreographer for the Muni Theater in St. Louis. So that's like my latest that I'm very proud of, because that's the first time I'm being in this position. I'm working with amazing choreographer. His name is William Carlo Angulo, which is amazing choreographer, dancer. He's done like a gazillion shows as a dancer, as an associate, as a dance captain, and now he's like a very known choreographer in the community. He did a lot of production in the Heights and tons of things, and he literally gave me the opportunity to share my knowledge in this production that is close to my heart, On Your Feet, which is it's not my baby because I didn't choreograph him from day one, but it's my baby because of its effect in my personal life and my career. And being in that position that we able to recreate the show, because it's, new choreographer, new director, recreate the show. And I'm getting to actually put my input on it and my vision on it.
Amazing.
It allows me to do that, because again, some people can not be doing that. And so we just wrapped pre-pro. We had 2 weeks of pre-pro, 1 week of just the choreography team, and then another week with dancers. We brought 4 dancers into the room. And it was beautiful to see the work on bodies, on people, and like see their dancing their heart out. And I got so teary the last day, which was the day. And we get to leave to San Luis in a week and be there for 2 weeks and perform the show and bring that story to St. Louis. And so if you're in St. Louis or Kansas City, the show will be showing there. So and then be in that position, which is the next stage where I want to take my career to, and that's like a milestone for me. So I'm very proud of it. I'm very emotional about it.
Mazel tov. That's amazing. It's so incredible. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. That's really, really, really it. And then, my classes in New York, I've been teaching on Mondays. I have my ladies styling, and Tuesday I have my Mambo Shines, and I'm about to start my ladies team again. And
Johnny's ladies are coming back?
Yes, but I'm changing the name. I'm starting fresh. It's a new. So in LA, I had a company named Cadencia, which Cadencia is actually the rhythm and tempo and cadence. And Eddie used to always say, like, people need to have the cadencia. It's a cadencia. And Eddie used to say it. So I took cadencia, and I had cadencia in LA, which was partnering team. So now I was like, I want to use Cadencia, not Shani's Girls anymore, because I also feel Shani's Girls was like that era in my life where I was Shani and it was Shani's Girls, yay.
Shani 1.0.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like now it's a different Shani, it's a different, and I feel like it needs to be more mature, and Cadencia fits for me
I
right
like
now.
that.
Yeah.
I love the name. I think that's great.
I love Cadencia. I always loved it.
The studios you're teaching at, I believe it's K-Town?
K-Town. So K-Town is a beautiful, gorgeous new studio that my friend Steven, he is a bachata dancer instructor and salsa, but his main thing is bachata. He has a huge following here in New York for bachata. And he opened a beautiful, gorgeous new studio in the heart of New York, which is 32nd and Broadway. So it's
wow.
the Empire State Building. Yes. And
that's a great location.
Beautiful location. And we partnered up. I'm renting the studio from him and it became our home. So if you're in New York, come. It's gorgeous. And I teach Monday, Tuesdays. The ladies team is starting up and just teaching. And then I have my classes online. I have the Grooves class online on Sundays. And every 6 weeks, I have a lady styling course that is opening up. So the next one is coming up in the beginning of September. I've been teaching also online and obviously in person.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you. We went a little bit over. I know you got a busy schedule and I'm sorry for keeping you long, but there was just so much information to go over. You give so much advice. It almost seems selfish of me to ask you the last question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yeah.
If there was one piece of advice that you could give to women who want to make it in this business, what would that be?
Oof. I can go.
It's a loaded question. I'm sorry.
Hours for this question, girl. We need part 2 for sure.
Well, I'll definitely bring you back for part 2 because I want to hear about how the whole associate choreographer thing went. So I'm going to bring you back, but let's do at least one version of the answer.
Yes. So, okay. So my advice, again, there's so much I want to talk about, especially for women, right? But what I would say is really, really, really stick to your guns in the sense of like, know who you are, know what's important for you, know what you want, know what you don't want, and really, really go with that. I mean, unfortunately, can we change the world? Yes, we can change the world one step at a time. It takes a long time to change something, especially habits and stuff that are embedded in the community, embedded in the culture. It's very hard sometimes. And there's a lot of things that are repetitive, that's happening repetitively, that are not good in our community. And I think something that throughout the years made me always like, let's say, I'm going to say win, the word win, or like win for me. Wins for me can be something small, right? Not necessarily achievements, but also I think is really, really knowing what I like and what not. And even if it's to take a risk and lose it all, do always what makes you happy. And in order to succeed, you really need to have a clear vision. So my advice will be to really, really sit with yourself on a daily basis and know what's the goal is. Where are you heading? What's the goal? What do you want to achieve? Where you want to take it? And then reverse and do all the steps that you need to do in order to get there, opposed to just kind of like play by ear or like see what happens. And no, be very focused. Know what exactly you want. Write it down. Put out the steps that you need to do. What are the things you need to make it happen? And then if something is not aligned with that, it's not part of your journey. And not be scared to say no, to eliminate, to distant, to just focus on you and isolate and just do you. And that's the main goal, is just know your goal, know your vision, focus, set it up, do what it takes, and not let anything get in the way.
I love that. That's such amazing advice. And I highly recommend that those of you that are watching take that advice, because clearly Shani has been a success and she knows what the hell she's talking about. Thank you so much, love, for joining me today. You were a fabulous guest. I hope you guys all enjoyed taking this trip down memory lane of Shani's career and seeing all the fabulous things she's done. Again, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out. We will see the comments, even if you watch it after the fact. So just tag us and we'll be happy to get back to you.
Thank you for having me. I love
You're so welcome. Oh, you're so welcome. Join me, guys, next week. My guest will be Kat Arias, and we're going to talk all about Ferocity Dance Company.
Honey.
So thank you, guys. Again, my name is Sharonne Vinokurov. This is Women of Dance. Love you all. Love you, Shani. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.